Leo 19, a houseboat party. The houseboat stands offshore a little way, typically, and it's away from mainstream cultural values. This is a place where we let our hair down. We do things that we wouldn't do otherwise. We wouldn't want the people at work to see us doing what we do at a houseboat party, probably. And this image is of just relaxing the values that you hold, the behavior that you hold to, just letting go for a little while. It's a temporary thing, typically just one evening, isn't it? And then we get back to the workaday routines of our life. And the contrast here is in that balance between the routines, which can become very dull and uninspiring and tedious and not what we want. Most people do not get very excited about the Monday morning feeling. It's just like, oh, I got to do that again. So that's not really healthy, that attitude to life, where you're doing something reluctantly again and again. Now, of course, we do things sometimes which we don't want to do, and we do them somewhat reluctantly, perhaps, because that leads to something else which we do want. And they understand this concept in Sufism with the two phrases, the Abdullah energy and the Rasul energy. They give names for it. And the Rasul energy is when you allow the Spirit of God to flow through you. You become a messenger, really, of the divine message. Abdullah is the divine servant, is what you do in order that there can come a time where you can flow with this Rasul energy. So the balance in life is between doing what we love to do on the one hand and what we must do in order to do what we love on another hand. So we may want to pick fruit and vegetables from the garden, but we have to do the work. We have to do the weeding and so on. That's how it is. We just have sometimes to do what we don't want to do in order that we can do what we want to do. But most people's attitudes on a Monday morning suggest that balance has gone out of kilter, that there's too much doing what we must do and not enough doing what we want to do. That balance has to be found if life is to be joyful. So Rudyard focuses on the aspect of the houseboat party which is testing the boundaries of what is permissible, what we can get away with, in other words. And if we don't test the boundaries, then knowledge does not expand. Knowledge only expands by moving beyond previous limits. If we don't experience what has not been experienced before, we cannot know what has not been known before. Very simple formula. And yet, what has not been experienced before almost certainly has been banned to some extent by social convention, cultural norms, law, or whatever. So we need to push the boundaries in order to somehow tune in to a higher dimension of being, the muse, the spirit of inspiration, spirit of creativity. And we don't do that if we're locked up in a 9-to-5 rut of boredom. We cannot maintain an inspired and creative attitude to life. So we can't access the creative part of us. And when you go to a party or any other event which relaxes you away from the workaday rhythm, the workaday boring routine, whenever we move out of that, we allow the possibility of creativity to flow through us. It's generally understood that the soul of a community is its culture. And when we travel around the world, we see their museums and art galleries and so on. And this represents the very best of that culture. what that country is proud of, what that country has honoured by keeping it in good condition for a long time. That's the culture, that's the most precious part of a country, that's its soul. And for us to develop culture and to deepen our wisdom of the soul of our community, we have to express creativity. That's what culture really is. It's our creative outpourings as a community. And the contribution to that includes work, but it also includes relaxation. And this is something taught within this degree of Leo 19, that working certainly contributes to the community, and yet so does relaxation. It is a contribution that you're making to your culture when you relax and tune in to time off. And yet there's also a warning that indulgence must not extend beyond a certain limited period of time. Indulgence is good if temporary. It becomes self-defeating if it's extended. Now, of course, if you've really got a need to let your hair down for a very long time and you go on holiday, 2 weeks may not be enough. You might need to take off a long time. You might need to go travelling for 6 months or a year. Often that's what you need to break away from the habits that have become dull and dispiriting. And yet, you always got to come back. A life of indulgence diminishes our joy eventually, and it diminishes our ability to serve the community, and we lose touch with what is actually going on for most people, because most people, they've got kids and they've got mortgages and they've got various other responsibilities that must be attended to, and this requires work. So the time off is always temporary, always. And we need to remember that. We need to use it preciously. Get the most out of the time off. Do the best you can to relax to the fullest degree. Go for it passionately, in order that when you get back into the routine, somehow it's fresher, and we can maintain that freshness and the creativity and the inspired ability that goes with that.